Physically, the people of the plateau were of a Mediterranean race. Culturally, especially in their religious thought, they were more closely related to the peoples of Central Asia. Greek writers have written about the simple, undeveloped people who survived to their time along the southern shore of the Black Sea, especially in the manner of disposing of the dead. They bear a striking resemblance to the customs of the Vididates. For example, among the people of Beki, men over 70 were killed and eaten by their relatives, and old women were strangled and buried. Unfortunate men who died before 70 were simply buried. Among the Caspians, who gave their name to the sea formerly called Gorgon, those over 70 were starved to death. The bodies were left in the desert and watched. If the body was carried off by a vulture, the dead were considered the happiest of people. If it was carried off by wild beasts and dogs, they were considered less fortunate, but the most unfortunate were those whose bodies remained intact. Further east, equally ugly and disgusting customs continued until the time of Alexander's invasion. The sick and the elderly were thrown to the dogs while they were still alive. And these dogs were called in their language the ones who were appointed to bury the dead. The piles of bones within the walls testify to burial rites that were as severe and cruel as these. To understand the reason for these rites, the terrifying description of which is given in the Vedanta, we must go back and examine the more extensive magical writings of the Sumerians. Let us read that they too had migrated from Central Asia to Babylon, or let us read the modern description of the shamanic religion which is still to be found in those lands. In the most ancient form of the Magi religion, there were no real barbarians for them, only countless bands of evil spirits who constantly threatened the lives of the poor peasants, and whose malicious and harassing raids could only be prevented by barbarism and the ritual of turning away. Their homeland was in the north, from which hostile peoples also threatened. The head of all the demons is the demon Minu, Ahriman, the boundless evil Minu, the creator of all evil and poisonous and harmful animals. For this reason, the Magians considered it a great reward to kill the earthly representatives of these evil spirits, ants, snakes, reptiles, toads, and birds, by closing their holes or destroying their nests.